The story you're about to hear is true, only the whiskey makes it sound better. I operate on the west side of Richmond, Virginia, where private eyes keep their eyes out for loose women, and private dicks keep getting arrested. It was a dismal, thick kind of evening in late October. I was in my office, thinking about how to promote legendary members. Outside, the darkened city was all quiet, just the occasional song and dance number from a jerk splashing about in rain puddles. The door opened, and in walked a dame. She was a redhead, with wings. She walked through my door like a tigress walks into a Burmese orphanage, red hair and the kind of curves that if you were a car, would make you want to hug the road. No dame her age could afford a set of wings like that, and the makeup she had on confirmed her identity. She had bad news written on her like October of '29. Project Legends was born that night.
Hey, Lindsey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing well, doing well. Now, you really do tie community together and then art and books and passion, and you're bringing it to your husband's passion as well.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting journey to get him to bring in different types of communities because everybody's got an interest in something, and I pushed and pushed and pushed for books, and now they have the Smoke and Bacon book club.
That's that's really awesome.
Yep.
Now with Smoke and Bacon, it's a social media site, but it's very different from other social media sites that it's very, very heavily based on groups, on communities. Now other sites kind of do that, but Smoke and Bacon has that emphasis on smaller groups and bringing people together who have very similar interests. Could you tell us a little bit about the group aspect of Smoke and Bacon?
Well, you have people who have a love of social media as a whole, but you have your groups that like to talk specifically about politics or hunting or cooking or issues with kids. And, not everybody wants to see all of those different things. Mm-hmm. So with the community breakdown, the way he's got it, it really allows people that can see each other on the main feed. Well, I have a similar interest in cooking or hunting that this person does. So I can communicate and share tips, recipes, photos, conversation, all in that one specified area.
Okay.
And then it helps knock down some of the trolls, if you will, the ones that have an opinion on everything. And, you'll still get those within that community, I'm sure, but it helps bring others together to share different experiences. And it's really interesting to see who's really involved in which communities. It's really, really, really a good process. And I think that that's going to become a more normal process with other sites down the road. It's an ever evolving process.
It definitely is. Now I know some of the bigger ones are trying to do groups as well, but it's a lot harder to find. And like I said, Smoke and Bacon really focuses in on the actual groups. And I know like a lot of times you'll see what you like with the algorithm, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost becomes as though these groups are almost like a family or a club that everyone can get in. Can you tell us a little bit about that aspect of it, where these groups become a family, everyone knows everyone in the groups, and even if you don't know everyone, you do tend to gravitate towards people in your group who start to even like more things within the group?
Yeah, it's so other areas of social media have your fan groups or reader groups or selective cooking groups, and you have like this plethora of junk that gets filtered into it. Whereas with the Smoke and Bacon communities, it's more of a one-on-one approach, and you get to know people on a more personal level, especially with the involvement of the live streams and the a lot of the self-business owners. Everybody's helping promote each other. You have a back pain, well, you should go check out Misty's Holistic Earth community and see what kind of tips, and connect with her there. It's kind of like being able to reach out and get in contact with one specific person via however many are in that group.
Okay.
It's kind of like an email without having to email. It's kind of nice. You don't have to wait like 2 days to get a response back. Somebody else can say, hey, I was just talking to her on the phone. I'll let her know you're looking to reach out. Everybody gets together and you get to know each other. And I mean, we've over the past few years, we've learned, not just sign-on names, we've learned real names, and we've shared family pictures and, get-togethers, and, you get to know people, which is what I think a lot of other programs used to do and like strayed away from. And people want to be able to connect and not see a bunch of BS. They really do. They want to see something that's pertinent to what they're looking for. They don't want to sit and scroll through 5 million ads just because it picked up on your phone. I don't need 50 ads for Kohl's or Target. And to actually see things within the group that you're following, and to check in on the welfare if somebody's having a hard time. People can come in and say, hey, look, I know I've been kind of quiet for a while. I've had a lot of stuff going on. And people actually take time to comment and reach out and say, hey, here's my phone number. If you're having trouble, give me a call. We can talk. I can connect you with whoever for whatever issue. And it's a really nice community to have in general, especially with the veteran community, because there are so many, ups and downs with, leaving the service and still being active within the service, or, trauma-based issues. These are all people that they've been there. They know where you're at. And on my aspect of it, I'm not a veteran, but I'm the wife of a veteran. And there are other wives that are non-military as well that gives them a safe place to complain, to vent, to share, to come up with ideas, a welcome home to somebody, or, I know of a military family that may not be associated with the app yet, but they could, stand to use a little assistance. And these people, they come together, and whatever it is, if it's you need them to send a card, or, a grocery gift card, or anything, just a word of support, that they love doing all of that.
And that's really great. I really like that, because I believe that everyone deserves a safe space, and Smoke and Bacon really does provide that, especially for veterans.
Yes.
So, and a lot of times when we talk about veterans, we don't necessarily talk about them having a safe space.
Correct.
So how does Smoke and Bacon go about reaching veterans, right, to provide them with that safe space?
Well, a lot of it is word of mouth. Everybody knows at least one person who's been in active service, whether it's reserves or, a career. Everybody knows somebody. So the best, still age-old form is word of mouth. And then, people see all the time, I'm sick of Facebook, I'm sick of Instagram, I'm sick of all that. Well, hey, you might be interested to know there are quite a few other people just like you who understand your humor, your jokes, your rants and raves, issues. It's a matter of being willing to share that there is a place specifically for people like them, where it's not really been before. You get all the haters who are anti-military, anti-veterans. Surprisingly, they exist. There is none of that within Smoke and Bacon. It's not tolerated, and it never will be. And I'm very, very thankful for that. I come from a military family. My husband's a vet. So the amount of respect that we hold in this household for them, it gets transferred into this program, this website, this app. And I really didn't think it would get to the point that it really has. I really didn't. But I'm supportive, and I love it. I love what it's become.
Me too, and I love what it's become as well. Now, we have this great platform. You guys are pushing it, and now you have your community that you've been pushing for within Smoke and Bacon. Can you tell us a little bit about your community within the app?
Well, it was my idea. I'm not an admin on it. And that's okay. I have, the house and everything else here to go on so that Wade doesn't have to worry. The idea came about actually during the pandemic. I have always been a reader, and I read all various types. But with the pandemic, I got really, really back into my book reading and audiobooks. And I just was like, you need to have a space for this. There are tons of veterans that love to read. Their wives, I'm sure, love to read. And, books are an age-old icebreaker for a lot of different reasons. They've been around forever almost. And, of course, my preferred genres, I told Wade, I said, it does not need to be romance. It is a generalized book club
Okay.
where people, it's not manly to read. I don't get it, but that ideal exists. So I said, you have folks on here that I'm sure are very intelligent, very educated, and have a love of reading. Why not give them another safe place to discuss or share their collection, or so-and-so is having a hard time, be able to refer something that helped them focus on something positive and not negative. I really pushed for the idea. He kind of fought back on it for a while, but I was like, Wade, with the amount that you and I both read, it's something that you should at least offer and see what becomes of it. Now, granted, it's not a very large community. Some people probably don't even know it's there. But, it was an awesome place for me to say, hey, if you're interested, there are tons of places where you can sign up to treat yourself to a monthly book box or a quarterly book box. And I went and I found a list of all the different places and all the different genres they cover. And a lot of them you can even do for kids and young adult, and some of the cool things that they offer within those are what help keep people with the love of reading. There is a whole new surge in book fan art that is absolutely amazing. It exists for fantasy, obviously romance, sci-fi, and there's even some with some of your more non-traditional fiction and nonfiction even. And there are some serious diehard groups that go with these things. And what a better way to show people that these things exist. If you have a favorite Hobbit character, there's somebody out there who loves it just as much, if not more, creates a whole line of artwork. They're self-employed, selling it on their Etsy store. What are we doing? We're all about that. So giving them access to talk about, share those types of things, inform them of book signings that they normally would not have known about. There's humongous book conventions throughout the year. There was one this past weekend in Philadelphia. Indies Invade Philly was the event that occurred. Tons of individual self-published authors making their way in the book world. And they're there to meet their fans, meet their readers. And this is a place that we can share all that information with people and then discuss their favorite books. I don't necessarily run my mouth about all the romance. Now, granted, that I have, but there are others that I have mentioned. One of my all-time favorite books is The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. It is a mashup of firsthand accounts as well as fiction of his tour during Vietnam. It is one of the most interesting books I have ever read. And I highly recommend it to everybody, military, non-military. At some point, take a good read through it, and, some people have no idea how to enjoy Edgar Allan Poe, Joan Didion, my other favorite, Dan Brown. Many people just associate him with the Da Vinci Code, but he's got 3 or 4 other books out that are not related at all, and they're better to me. And Stephen King, Wade, just FYI, he is a huge Stephen King fan.
Good information.
Yes. Oh, yes. So, yes, I never really understood his love for it until I really I listened to a book on a road trip with him once, and I was kind of hooked.
Okay.
I get it now. I get it. But yeah, so, and it's something that I hope that with encouraging adults to read and talk about books and share them, that they encourage their children and their families to do so, because bookstores and libraries are dying out. They're fizzling out.
They are. They are.
And that's sad, because I believe every adult and child should know how to properly research using a book. Not everything you find out online is truth. So I always stress that with kids and adults alike, like, go to your library. You'd be amazed. So
I love that you brought this community. I know you're not an admin, but this is definitely your baby that you pass along, and now it's growing. And I do think it's good to have groups like this on social media sites like this, especially, and then going back to the veterans, right? So we have veterans who have best interests.
Yes.
There are so many people who have so many different interests. Of course, being a veteran will pull people together, but they have other interests outside of being a veteran, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Some
people hated their experience.
Yeah.
They did their 4 years and they were done.
They were done. So I think it's great to have interests like this. And because it's inside of a safe place,
yes,
you feel even safer opening up and being like, yes, I'm a vet, but I read too. So I do think it's great. So how have people been responding to groups like the book group, the book club?
They've been doing really well. Like I said, some of the time that you spend within the different communities that you're a part of, you see people join and become a part of it that's off other experiences and conversations. You wouldn't have necessarily pictured them as part of this group, but that is how you get to know people. Not everybody, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yep.
So it's really interesting to see what they bring within each particular community, and what they choose to share of themselves, or what they're into within the different communities. And that goes far beyond even the book club one. Okay. You know, it could be when they're cooking, for example. You know, it may be your mama's homemade mac and cheese recipe. Everybody's family has their own recipe.
Yep.
Everybody's is the best. So it's, and a thing that I think a lot of people tend to forget or overlook is probably the better word, is that when these guys and gals are in service, especially, they really discover kind of who they are as an adult. You know, they're still growing up, like if they join right out of high school. So there's still a lot to themselves that they don't quite know yet. And they pick up different habits. They learn to have a love for reading, whereas in high school and before, they hated it. Well, when you're in the sandbox and have nothing better to do, you're going to turn to a new activity. Yep. And in essence, we've created a whole new group of readers. Or mom sent a box of miscellaneous items that I can try cooking while I'm stationed in Germany or wherever. And so they discover a love for cooking. Or because they've never been exposed to weaponry in their lives until they joined, well, they decide that they gave their hand at trying hunting or motor pool, and all of a sudden they come out and they want to fix up and remodel classic cars. And it just, there's an individual clique, group, community, family available for just about anything you can think of. And it allows people to just pick and choose. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of that. I don't want to see any of this. They have that freedom to pick and choose. And that's what we want to give them.
And I really like that they have the freedom to pick and choose, because a lot of
Yes.
times with other
don't.
social media sites, you don't, the algorithm picks for you. And
Yes.
it's going to kind of sway you in the direction that you think you want to go to. And you may discover new things, but you don't have the choice.
Correct.
Sometimes it'll lead you down a rabbit hole of, how did I end up here? I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But with Smoke and Bacon, you have the freedom to choose. And it's not a computer choosing for you. It's not a computer
Exactly.
guessing what you want. It is
You still have
you.
a brain. You get to use it.
Exactly.
We encourage that. You have a voice. You have an opinion.
Yep, and I don't think many social medias are encouraging people to have a voice or opinion.
I know, they're just stripping that right away, and it's like, why? You each started on the premise of having that, not right, because that's not the right terminology, but the ability. You all offered that, and then slowly over the years, you've just taken all of that away. And it's like, why? Why do that? I don't understand why more people haven't left before now.
Yeah. So Smoke and Bacon is definitely a place where you can be who you are. There are rules, like
yes,
everything. You can't go in there and spread hate to people.
Oh yeah, no.
But it definitely gives you the opportunity to voice your opinion, whatever your opinion tends to be. Now, we have seen other sites try and do that. But they end up being a platform of more so conspiracy theories and hate.
Oh my gosh, yes.
How does Smoke and Bacon balance that, where it's, hey, you can be who you are, you can say what you want, but don't go off the deep end? How did you guys come up with that balance within the community, within the groups, within the app itself?
I think the best example would probably be, and I hate to say it, is politics. There is a political community for a reason. Not everybody wants to see everybody's opinions, left, right, or in the middle. Some people don't want any part of it, and that's okay. So when we had the election, there was a lot of, Democratic this, Republican this, and it was just really kind of overwhelming. So they came together, all the different little brains of admins, and they created this safe place for political conversation. You want to go duke it out? You go over here. Let everybody else who wants to have fun continue on. If they want to see it, they'll join the community and it will pop up in their feed. So it took a little bit to remind people, look, okay, we get you're excited. I'll put it that way. You're excited. You want to share.
Yep.
But this is how when you're starting a platform of an app and a website, the way this one is designed, you're able to guide people to go have that fun in this particular room, if you will. You can go knock yourself out, have fun. And then when you're done with that, you can come back out here and see what all your other groups are sharing today. So the idea is kind of hard for some people to grasp when they first join. They don't understand it because they're used to Instagram feeds and MySpace and Facebook, and this is very different. And
yes, it is.
All they got to do is just there's a start here community tab. Click that button. It literally will walk you through one by one. So
that's good. The answer is communities. You
yes.
can be who you want in the community, where people accept you in the community. And if people don't want to hear about it.
And that's the best part too. Like again, with the politics one is the biggest one.
Yeah.
You can have the same 5 people involved in a conversation going back and forth about
Mhm.
politics and everything else. But when they step out of that community, they are still friendly
Mhm.
to one another in the main community or the main feed, and whatever other groups they're part of. They can share their difference of opinion and hash it out,
Yep.
and then leave it at the door. And there's no hard feelings, usually, I think. I would hope.
Usually.
I mean, you've seen mine and Wade's difference of opinion on quite a few things.
Oh, yes.
But, at the end of the day, it's like your friendships. Some of your best conversations and disagreements can be with your best friends. And as long as you know that that's not going to ruin your friendship or your family, you can walk away from it and carry on. And that's the same type of mentality behind the different communities within this app and website. So,
And that is awesome.
gotta love it.
I love it. So, Lindsey, thank you so much for talking with me.
Welcome. Thank
and
you.
telling me all about the community, especially the book community on Smoke and Bacon.